Check out carmarshal.com. The link is in the description. They help support us.
Tonight, we investigate. Did Santa Clara County deputies violate their own policies, and what prompted them to shoot and kill an 86-year-old Navy veteran in his own home?
Senior investigative reporter Stephen Stock has been piecing together what happened, and he joins us now with that inside story. Stephen.
Jessica, these sheriff's records show this was not the first time that deputies had gone to Eugene Craig's home in Saratoga. Since 2011, they'd been there 6 times before and were familiar with the elderly couple that was living there. They'd been there previously for 2 medical calls, 2 suspicious circumstances calls, a vandalism and an abandoned vehicle call. This time, deputies went to Craig's home for a wellness or welfare check, but they ended up shooting the retired homeowner inside. The Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office says deputies went to the 1200 block of Titus Avenue around dusk on September 12th, believing an elderly person inside had medical issues. The sheriff's official news release says that after calling out for about 50 minutes, deputies tried to force their way through the front door, could not, then went through a side door. There they found Navy veteran Eugene Craig, who, quote, displayed this .38 caliber revolver, prompting Sergeant Douglas Ulrich to shoot Craig where the retired Navy veteran stood in his own home.
The deputies gave him several verbal commands to drop the firearm.
These pictures show both the back door into the garage and the side door into the home forced open. We took this picture showing a bullet hole in the side door frame leading into the house, a shot that missed. You can see another shot that apparently missed in this picture, a bullet hole in the wall behind where Craig's 90-year-old wife says she was standing with her husband.
If you're there at someone's house to check on their welfare, why do you kick 2 doors down?
Dennis Luca, a retired San Jose police officer himself and now a civil attorney, was originally hired by Eugene Craig's 90-year-old widow to look into what happened.
From the information we have, they turned a welfare check, meaning is everybody okay, into a deadly force situation.
They went from
15 to 20 minutes before the shooting.
All they had to do was let me go in the house.
Roberts went to the house at the request of another friend, Jim Marshall. Marshall says he got a call from Eugene Craig that night. Both friends say the 86-year-old Craig was hard of hearing and told Jim Marshall on the phone he thought someone was outside the house trying to break in.
I could have got him to the door. I could have called him. I could have done anything. But they wouldn't let me do anything, just stay there, stay back out of the way.
Only later did it become apparent that Craig mistook the deputies with flashlights walking around the house for burglars. He never called 911. Instead, he called his friend.
I heard a bam, 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 bam. And I told him it was at least 6 shots, if not 7.
According to the official autopsy report, Craig was hit by 4 bullets to the chest and pelvis and grazed once. Add in
doors, come into the house, and start shooting.
According to sheriff's policy, the use of force entering buildings, quote, will be practiced with the utmost restraint and only after all reasonable alternatives have been exhausted.
Why they didn't have supervisors there, why they didn't try to negotiate, why they didn't break a window and put a phone in the house, do something.
A sheriff's department source in a position to know told us neither a lieutenant nor a captain was ever called to the scene until after the shooting. The SWAT team was not called either, nor was a negotiator. No tear gas, no intercom, no loudspeaker. That worries the source about the legal justification, what's called exigent circumstances, which would have led deputies to force their way into the home.
So there's certain things that allow us to immediately violate the Fourth Amendment and go into a location. That's exigency, which is basically a fancy word for emergency.
Alameda County Sheriff Sergeant Ray Kelly is not talking specifically about this case, but in general about procedure for welfare checks.
Those are things you balance, and so it's up to you at that point as an officer to maybe notify your supervisor, and sometimes the most reasonable thing to do is to just walk away.
The original attorney for Eugene Craig's widow agrees, saying the law does not allow deputies to create their own exigent circumstances in order to break down doors.
It didn't have to happen, it shouldn't have happened, and now I have a 90-year-old woman who is alone. That's not a tragedy. That is horrific.
Now, we asked the Sheriff's Department numerous times over the last 5 months to answer questions about these issues. They consistently refused comment, citing an active and ongoing investigation that continues into that September shooting. They also would not let us speak with Sergeant Doug Ulrich, the man who fired the shots. His lawyer also did not return phone calls for comment. We also reached out to the new lawyers for the Craigs family. He said he may talk later, but right now he has no further comment.
Cops kill innocent 86-year-old Navy vet as he protected his wife from intruders, no charges. The cops were the intruders. They were there to ostensibly check on the well-being of the couple and ended up killing an innocent man. By Matt Agarist, March 7, 2018. Saratoga, CA. Last year, the widow of an 86-year-old Navy veteran who was gunned down by armed intruders in his own home, filed a lawsuit against her husband's killers, the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department. Now, the person who murdered this innocent man will not be held accountable, as the killing of Eugene Craig has been ruled justified by the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office. Craig was gunned down by police as he attempted to shield his wife from armed intruders who'd just broken into his home. The armed intruders were cops. On September 12, 2016, according to Haro Craig's attorneys, prior to the shooting, deputies kicked down 2 doors before opening fire inside the Craig's Saratoga home on Titus Avenue. As KTVU reported at the time, attorneys said their clients stated that both she and her late husband were very scared and did not know why their doors were being kicked down. The elderly couple thought they were victims of a home invasion, so Eugene grabbed his .38 caliber revolver and bravely stood in front of his wife as they listened to the intruders come into their home. When the intruders opened the bedroom door, they saw the elderly vet standing there with the revolver, and one deputy opened fire. Although there were multiple deputies in the home, Deputy Doug Ulrich was the only one who felt the need to begin shooting. Eugene died on the scene. According to police, they were at the home to conduct a welfare check. Craig's granddaughter called police the night of the shooting because she hadn't heard from her grandparents in a week, according to prosecutors. The sheriff's office said that deputies clearly identified themselves, called the home phone, and tapped on windows repeatedly before entering. In spite of their alleged efforts to identify themselves, the couple still didn't believe them. After all, they were both entirely innocent, and cops coming into their home was a far-fetched idea. Any home invader could simply claim they're the police to easily gain entry into someone's home. The tragic irony of this situation is that police claim they were there to protect the couple, noting that they had gotten word that someone inside the home was in distress. Sadly, this is what happens when militarized police are sent into an innocent couple's home to check on their well-being. Naturally, after they killed the innocent man while protecting him, police immediately attempted to justify their actions, and as this ruling by the DA illustrates, it worked. The law allows Deputy Douglas Ulrich to fire his weapon in defense of others, and himself, until Craig no longer posed an imminent threat, wrote Stacy Capps, a supervisor in the district attorney's homicide unit. In short, Deputy Ulrich genuinely believed that Craig presented an imminent threat of death or great bodily injury to others or himself when he discharged his duty weapon. However, the only ones who created the threat of imminent danger were the police. Craig had harmed no one. As NBC Bay Area reported at the time, the attorney for Craig's 90-year-old widow, Dennis Luca, a longtime retired San Jose police officer, turned civil attorney, was originally hired by Craig's 90-year-old widow after the shooting last fall. Simply put, they did not follow established policy and procedure that virtually all police departments, sheriff's office follow regarding the escalation of force, said Luca. If you're there at someone's house to check on their welfare, why do you kick 2 doors down at nighttime when my client is 86 years old, his wife is 90, and they live alone at that house and they have for years? Asked Luca. They, deputies, didn't progress through the steps necessary, and that's why I say they created the deadly force event. Not Mr. Craig, who has a right to be in his house. He hadn't committed a crime, said attorney Luca. He has a right to be safe in his house like all of us do. The police just can't kick doors, come into the house and start shooting. Welfare checks, as they are known in the United States, are crapshoots that have the potential to explode into violence at any moment. The Free Thought Project has reported on numerous instances in which police have shown up to protect someone who may be suicidal or in distress only to end up hurting or killing them. Sadly, Craig is now one of these statistics, and the people who did it to him will not be held responsible for taking an innocent man's life. Nothing will bring back Hara, Craig's beloved husband. However, her lawsuit will serve as yet another reminder of the effect of police violence on situations that require no force at all. When law enforcement's only tool is a hammer, everything begins to look like a nail. It didn't have to happen. It shouldn't have happened, said Luca. And now I have a 90-year-old woman who is alone, who was married for many years to a war veteran, a pilot, and now she has no one. That's not a tragedy. That is horrific.
County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too, because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Sheriff County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, if I got some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head. Help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.